Hey, hoopsters. It's time for a new episode of Phil Sport Hoops. The ball don't lie, and Phil don't neither.
Welcome to Phil Sports 5-Minute Hoops. I'm Phil Sport reporting on all the weekly basketball news for the avid hoopster within 5 minutes. For the last week in May, let's begin with the NBA. That rhymes. Dallas plays Boston in the NBA Finals, and what this series comes down to is whether Luka and Kyrie will be good enough offensively to overcome the best starting five in the NBA this season in the Boston Celtics. Boston's going to get a big lift if Porzingis can return and be effective. Porzingis' return will also strengthen Boston's bench. However, it will only strengthen their bench at one position, being center, since I doubt Porzingis and Horford will play together. Dallas's bench also has been strengthened since Maxi Kleber has also returned from injury and looked much better in his second game back against the Timberwolves. The X factor in this series could be Hardaway for Dallas, whose playing time has been cut during the playoffs. However, he was the third leading scorer during the season. Another factor could be which team decides to play zone first. Doncic and Irving will place whoever plays center for the Celtics in a high pick and roll grinder. And on the other side, Doncic's going to have to play defense this series because both of Boston's guards are offensively capable. I do prefer Kidd over Mazzulla when it comes to making in-game adjustments, but to be fair to Mazzulla, there hasn't been much he's had to adjust to this season. Frankly, I see this series as a toss-up, but I did take Dallas getting 6.5 points in the first game because of the extended layoff for Boston, and usually Boston doesn't come out hard in game one of a series. Now we have a new segment called Who's Crying and Who's Lying. This week's crier is Minnesota Timberwolves coach Chris Finch. Prior to Game 6 against the Mavericks, Finch repeatedly said in an interview that Anthony Edwards did a good job getting around all the illegal picks trying to cover Doncic. Granted, Dallas and all teams in the NBA set illegal picks, and they're rarely called, but all Finch had to do was mention one time that the officials need to call illegal screens better instead of bringing up the same comment over and over and over. So Finch wins this week's crier. Now, not much is going on in the WNBA. Apparently, the girls aren't playing nice and picking on Caitlin Clark. Methinks the girls may be jealous of the $28 million endorsement deal Clark is going to sign with Nike for her own personal shoe. Now, Hoops Rumor is brought to you by the book Basketball Smarty Pants, Hoops for Everyone. Basketball Smarty Pants is endorsed by former 76er coach Brett Brown and is available on Amazon in either hard copy or ebook format. In the Hoops Rumors department, Clutch Point states that the top four players in the league, assuming all are healthy, are Doncic, Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. Shea Gregorius Alexander's ranked fifth, while Jason Tatum is ranked seventh, which might rankle Boston fans. Now, the Sixers are expected to re-sign Batum, Oubre, and Lowry, while the Clippers are interested in both Lowry and Chris Paul. Now, the Lakers received permission to talk with Sam Cassell for their vacant head coaching position, while Cleveland is looking at Kenny Atkinson. Both would be excellent hires. Now it's time for what you pickup players have been waiting for. Ask Kenny and Ant. This week, we asked Kenny and Ant how they would react and handle a call someone makes that they don't agree with. Well, Ant's answer was simple. Punk the person and make them embarrassed that they made the call. And we saw Ant in action last week when someone made a very late foul call. Apparently, they got hit late on a jump shot, and I can attest that it was a bad call. And of course, the call was on game point. While Anthony went ballistic. My only comment is that when someone makes a bad call, the next shot that team shoots, the ball's going to go in. It doesn't matter if they throw it up from the floor, blindfolded, with the opposite hands. It's going in because for some reason, karma rewards bad calls on the court. Now, Kenny had a slightly different take on a bad call. He said it really depends more on when the call is made. It makes a bigger difference when the call is made on game point versus making the call early in the game. Well, that's it for this week. For you YouTubers that are more video oriented, we have some good photos of a baby LeBron crying, and we do have our pickup player consultants, Kenny and Ant, contemplating on a bench. Now, if you have a pickup question to ask Kenny or Ant or need to get a hold of me, I can be reached at the Phil Sport Hoops Podcast at gmail.com. Till then, adios, sayonara, see ya!
That's all, folks.